Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is what films in 2023 should be. That was not supposed to rhyme.
Critic.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm Star-Lord. I formed the Guardians.
Now, there is a slight problem with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a problem that I assumed would be identified and inappropriately exaggerated and used to denigrate this film, a film that is truly wonderful. But to my shock and amazement, it hasn't. According to Rotten Tomatoes, as of writing this review, the critic score is 81 and the audience score is 96. The problem, of course, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. The first Guardians film was a game changer. It blew everyone away. No one knew who the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy were before this film. It was sort of like Iron Man back in 2008. Sure, people knew who Iron Man was, but was anyone really an Iron Man fan? Nobody I knew. Then that movie came out. Boom. Suddenly, Iron Man is the most popular Marvel character. And that kind of seismic shift wouldn't come along again until the success of Guardians. Nobody was expecting a raccoon and a tree to be two of the most popular Marvel characters. But that film was so dang good that I am Groot is now a phrase that is known across the, well, galaxy. It's such a stupid joke. I'm so sorry. Okay, and although Guardians 2 was also fantastic, it could not possibly live up to what had come before because something had come before. It was a continuation of a film that had changed the culture. And so just by the nature of coming second, Guardians Volume 2 couldn't do that. It's sort of like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. You couldn't reproduce the cultural phenomenon that was Raiders. But had Temple come first, who knows? Maybe that film would have been the best loved indie adventure. That's kind of a hard couple of words to say. Indie adventure. Weird. Tongue twister. And of course, Guardians 3 has the same trouble. No matter how great this film is, it'll never shock the world in the way that Guardians Volume 1 did. Because as I said, it's a continuation of the story. It's not new. And let me characterize Guardians 3 this way. It's a smaller film than 1 and 2. In the first film, we got the origin story. We got an Infinity Stone. And the Guardians really did guard the galaxy. In the second film, we had the Guardians face off against a god. But here in the third film, the Guardians, well, they're just trying to save the life of their friend. It's a smaller movie. But here's the thing. That's exactly what James Gunn needed to do. Oftentimes, filmmakers think that they have to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger with the adventures and the villains in their films. But James Gunn gets it. We're not just watching the Guardians because we want to see them fight intergalactic bad guys. I mean, yeah, we definitely are watching them for that, but we're also watching them because we love these guys. These characters are so fun. They're so charming. They're so funny. They're so, well, human, despite most of them not being human at all. They're so great that we want them to be our friends. While watching the movie, you want to be flying around the galaxy with these guys, cracking jokes and narrowly escaping death. When I was in my 30s, I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time. Many of my friends had watched this show as teenagers and they loved it. And they still loved it well into their adulthood. So finally, I decided I needed to watch this show. I needed to know why these people still loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer after all these years. So I watched it, and it's the characters. You want these people to be your friends. Even if you're a cool, popular kid in high school with tons of cool friends, your friends are probably not as fun as the characters from Buffy. And if you're an outcast with very few friends, well, that Buffy crew, that could have been a lifesaver. And so I think that some shows are just like that, and some films are like that. We grow to love the characters. I mentioned in my Mandalorian Season 3 review that people cried when they watched Luke come back at the end of Season 2. And that's because people who grew up with Luke Skywalker, well, I mean, he's kind of our friend. Heck, he's almost family.
You don't turn your back on family.
He's like a beloved cousin. And I think the Guardians crew is a bit like this as well. I mean, I don't know if kids today will in 20 years think about Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord the same way that we think about Luke Skywalker today. It's probably not going to be that profound, but who knows? Maybe it will be. These are great characters, and James Gunn knows exactly how to draw emotion out of the audience by telling us the stories of these characters. Because it's not just about their adventures, it's about their love for each other. It's about the respect, sometimes reluctant respect, for each other. It's about a group of misfits who find a family with each other, and you know what? That's a very heartwarming dynamic, because family is everything.
I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about
Family! Family! Guys, that was a signal!
And that is a truth that's missing in a lot of films and TV shows today. This used to be a very common theme in films and TV. I know that I go on a lot about how so many films and TV shows are woke these days, and I always celebrate projects that ignore the woke crap and just make good films. And I hate to sound like a dang broken record, but I mean, how can I ignore it? This is yet another great film, and there's not a woke thing about it. And it's phenomenal. Not only is it phenomenal, but it's hugely successful. The IMAX screening that I went to on Thursday, it was like completely sold out. And at the end of the film, there were multiple waves of applause as the credits rolled, and then the first post-credit sequence ended, and then the second post-credit sequence ended. People were cheering. People were crying. It was amazing. And again, I didn't even like it as much as the first one, but it was indeed a fantastic movie. Now, it does benefit from being a great film in a sea of total garbage. So, you know, perspective does cover our view sometimes. And look, the reality is that every film in Hollywood, every film they're making today, should really be just as good as this one. We took a hard left in about 2010, and we have not been able to recover. If films had just gradually progressed from the 1980s and gotten better and better and better, Guardians 3 would be the standard. As it is, we're getting films like Ant-Man Quantumania, which was genuinely one of the worst films that I have ever seen in my life. And I loved the first two Ant-Man movies, but honestly, what was Marvel thinking with that one? By the way, I will be doing a review on that film very soon. Incidentally, one of the things that bugged me about the Ant-Man film was the villain, Kang. The villain in Guardians, the High Evolutionary, is a very similar character. They're both super powerful, egomaniacal black guys. I have to pronounce this guy's name. Chukwudi Iwuji. Chukwudi. There we go. Iwuji. Chukwudi Iwuji. What the f? Chukwudi Iwuji. I'm trying to perfect it. Oh, I got the line wrong. Wait, what's she said his name, I missed it. Chukwudi. Okay, Chukwudi Iwuji. Okay, Chukwudi Iwuji. For f***'s sake. Change your name, brother. Can you just go by Chuck? For f***'s sake. But Chukwudi Iwuji is just fantastic. I can't believe I pronounced that name right. He's actually, and you may want to sit down for this, a good actor. And I think it comes down to this. The Ant-Man casting of Jonathan Majors was done for the purposes of diversity and inclusion. The Guardians casting of Chukwudi Iwuji, again, I'm amazing, was done because he was just the best actor for the job. And that's how every role should be cast, always. All right, look, I know this was not a detailed scene-by-scene breakdown of Guardians 3, but it's early days and I didn't want to spoil the film for anyone. Now, there are some really disturbing moments in this film, one in particular. And if you've seen it, you know which scene I'm talking about. So probably not great for younger kids, but it's definitely a must-watch film if you like Marvel movies, and it's a great third film for the Guardians trilogy. I highly, highly recommend Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
We'll all fly away together into the forever and beautiful sky.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and remember, I am Groot.